Hello platypuses! So today for English we're going to start a new topic and we're going to be working on it for the next few weeks. We are going to be doing this topic in English, but we're also going to be doing it in history too, so in our topic work, because actually it is part of our history topic. And what we're going to do is we're going to find out about a huge fire that happened in London. And as you can see, I have put a picture up of this huge fire. And the first job that I've got for you is I want you to look at the picture and describe what you can see. So in a minute, I'm going to ask you to pause the video and I'd like you to just you can jot down your ideas or you can just talk about it with somebody. And I want you to think about what can you see? I want you to look at the people. I want you to look at the buildings, any objects you can see, what's happening in the picture. Okay, so describe as much as you can see. And I want you to think about can you look for any clues that could possibly tell you more about this fire? Okay, so maybe are there any clues there that tell you when this fire was or how the fire started? Can be anything like that. So pause the video, have a think about it, and before I go on to the next slide to describe a bit more. Okay, how did you get on with all of that? Did you come up with some good description there? Did you describe what you could see in the picture? I'm sure you did. So what I'd like you to do today is I want you to think of some questions that you would like to ask to find out more about this huge fire that happened in London. So I'm just going to move on to the next slide. So I want you to think about this. So what questions would you like to ask about the Great Fire of London? Now, before you start thinking, I also want you to think about, can you think of any question words? Can you remember in our classroom, we have some question words up on the wall. So think about those right next to the whiteboard. Can you think of those different question words that we use when we ask questions? Also, the other thing I need you to think about is what punctuation do you need to use when you're asking a question? So have a pause of the video again. Think about those 3 questions I've asked you there. What would you like to ask about the Great Fire of London to find out more? What are the question words? And what kind of punctuation do you need to use when you're asking questions? Okay, pause the video, have a discussion about that. How did you get on? I hope you came up with lots of questions that you would like to ask. And first of all, did you think of any of those question words? So on my next slide, I'm going to show you the words that we should be using. So these are all different question words. So we've got who, do, where, did, can, how, what, which, and why. So these are words that we use at the beginning of sentences if we're asking a question. Now, if you're asking a question, what's the punctuation that you need to use at the end of a sentence? Can you all do the Kung Fu punctuation to show me the kind of punctuation that you need? I hope you're all doing it now. I'm going to show you the punctuation you need to use. Can you see this? Do you know what this is? This is a question mark. I'm sure you all got that, and I'm sure you were all doing the Kung Fu punctuation. Okay, so today then you are going to be thinking of those questions to us to find out a bit more about this huge fire. Now, just before I show you some examples of the questions you might like to ask, I'm going to show you the success criteria. So today, the learning question is, can I ask questions about the Great Fire of London? And the success criteria, so what I'm looking for when you're doing this, is for you to think of questions that you would like to ask to find out about the Great Fire of London. Use different question words, so all of those question words that I showed you on the other slide. And then I'd like you to record your questions using the correct punctuation. So when you write them down, you must have a question mark at the end of your sentence. And at the beginning, you must have a question mark. You must have a question word, not a question mark. That comes at the end. Okay, so I have got some examples to show you. So these are some questions that I thought of. So if I wanted to find out more about this huge fire that happened in London, I might like to ask, when was the fire? Can you see that I've used a question word at the beginning, when, and then I've got my question mark at the end. Another question I might ask is, how did the fire start? I'd like to know how it started. So I've got my question word at the beginning and I've got my question mark at the end. Another question I might ask is, who started the fire? So question word at the beginning, question mark at the end. So don't forget, when you're recording your questions, make sure you've got those question marks, you've got the question words, and good luck writing your questions.